What's going on, my soul family? Welcome back to another episode of the Awake with Jake show. On today's episode, I'm going to be dropping in and sharing with you how a woman can step more into her power. So yes, this is for my ladies listening right now. I got asked this question the other day by one of my followers, and I thought this was such a great question because so many people were so interested in learning more about these concepts that I shared. So throughout this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you different concepts, different ideas, different practices that you can do as a woman in today's world in 2021 to break down that barrier of feeling small. Now, if you really take a moment and think about this, as a woman in your life, how many times have you been told not to be too much, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive, you're too crazy, don't be too sensual, don't be too slutty, and you're constantly stuffed into this box of who you are supposed to be. And as a result of all this, you're constantly shamed and you feel small and you feel powerless. So in this episode, I'm going to help you to kind of reignite that flame, that eternal flame that burns within you. And it burns within all of us. So if you've ever felt powerless in your life, or maybe you feel powerless right now, or you'd like to step more into your power, then this episode is going to be very rich and full of wisdom that will help you to open up deeper to the divinity that you really are. Now, before I get into all of this, I just want to take a moment and thank you for being here. Yes, you, the listener. I know a lot of times that we forget to honor the people on the other end of this podcast, and I'm so grateful to have you here. It really means the world to me. If you resonate with my work, please help me by sharing it. Share it to your social media, share it to your Instagram, tag me in it. You could take a screenshot of this and tag it at Jake Woodard, or you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you're listening on Apple Podcasts as well. That would mean the world to me. So the first thing that I have is honor your no. Honor your no in all facets of your life. For example, I'm just going to get real deep real fast here. If you're in the container of, say, a relationship with a man, and the man wants to have sex with you, but you don't feel like having sex, you're not feeling it in your body, and you have sex with him out of your guilt just to people please him, just to appease him, you are hurting both you and the man that you're with because you're enabling him and you're people pleasing within your own self. So by saying, no, I do not feel like having sex right now, that is a stance of power. Or, no, this doesn't resonate with me. I don't align with this. You're speaking your truth and you're setting a conscious boundary. Now, that's very hard for women because for a very long time, I know from a man's perspective, from a masculine perspective, you have been stuffed down, you have been repressed. And I believe that some of my deepest work here is to help the women with their ascension. And, that's why I was brought up in a household with two sisters and a mother. I was raised in this environment, and my older sister, Jocelyn, was a drug addict. So I watched a lot of suffering within a woman early on in my life. And I watched my mother be very repressed by my father, who was very abusive and angry and violent. So I had a deep yearning to help women at a very young age. And I've always just loved the feminine heart and the feminine spirit. And one of the most powerful things that a woman can do, I feel, is to honor her no. So set boundaries with people in your life that aren't serving you. For example, if you're having somebody reach out to you at night after work hours and they're still texting you or messaging you about work, you don't have to respond or say, listen, this is off work hours right now. I'll be available tomorrow. And the same thing in the container of a relationship. When you learn to set boundaries in a relationship, especially with a man who's going to test you to see how much he can take your power, especially if he's not conscious, he will test you. He will see how much he can get away with, and then he eventually becomes lazy and complacent because you keep giving to him. He becomes the mama's boy in the relationship, and you start mothering and nurturing him like he's your little boy. And you don't want that. But if you set boundaries from the very beginning of that relationship, you serve the relationship. Honor your no. Speak life into what does and doesn't resonate with you. So yes, of course, as well on the flip side of this, in the relationship, also share with the man, if you're with a man, that you are with are the things that he does that you do like. And that's also speaking your truth. So you're saying, yes, I do like this. Or no, I do not like this. This does not resonate with my energy. This does not resonate with my intuition. This does not feel right in my body. The problem with a lot of women in today's world is there's so much in their mind because they've been forced into this masculine grid to always be active and building and achieving and doing. And they've disconnected from their body. They've disconnected from their intuition. And because they're disembodied, they're not really fully in their power. So as you start to drop down deeper into your body and have these deeper practices, you start to open up to your real true power. Because a feminine woman's power is not in her logic, it's in her intuition. Let me say this again. A feminine woman's power is not in her logic, it's in her intuition. Her intuition is a superpower. And when she really hones into that intuition and uses it and listens it and trusts in it, everything in her life begins to change. The second thing I have here is don't people please. And this really goes into honoring your boundaries and honoring your no, because by people pleasing, you attract people that are just going to suck at your energy. They're just going to drain your energy. And you're not going to attract to you that masculine man who has a strong but gentle, loving presence. He won't have the thrust of life that you desire if you're a people pleaser. When you are truly in your divine feminine energy and you're honoring your no and you're setting conscious boundaries in a loving way, because remember, you can set a boundary from your place of pain and get away from me and screaming and yelling. That's not really the best way to do it. I would invite you to be grounded and present and set the boundary from a place of your inner truth in that sage-like wisdom of this doesn't serve me. And as a woman, when you come from this stance of this sage-like wisdom, you help the men on our planet. You stop feeding in to these boyish desires, these unconscious desires, because the more you feed those unconscious desires, the more they grow. So as you stop feeding his ego and you stop babying him, not to say that you shouldn't be loving and kind and compassionate, because you absolutely should, but you know what I'm talking about. If you're enabling a man, it's just like enabling somebody who is addicted to something. It's not healthy for anybody in the relationship. And nobody's going to grow spiritually or emotionally because of this. So when the divine feminine awakens, in which she is awakening, Mother Earth is conscious. All around us, we are seeing the compassion, the gentleness, the love beginning to rise. The intuition, the psychic abilities of people are expanding more than ever. Especially right now within the women on this planet. It's opening. And when women start to feel safe on our planet, truly safe in their body, and they drop down out of their busy masculine mind and they're really feeling through things, this world would be such a better place. So we as men have to create a safer container for women to really express themselves without judgment, without shame, without being repressed. And that's what we as men really need to do a better job of, is not judging or criticizing her for having emotions or being sensitive or being sensual. These are the things of embodied masculine and embodied feminine. So honor your no, don't people please. And the third thing that I have here is speak your truth. Now, this is very hard because all of these are really going in parallel with each other. It is so uncomfortable, even as a masculine person myself, for me to sometimes set a boundary, to speak my truth, to tell what I want or what I don't want, and to really express how you want to be pleased, how you want to be desired, how you want to be loved in the container of a relationship especially. And also speaking your truth to the universe, right? Speaking your truth about asking for guidance for your soul's purpose and why you really came here, and doing more fulfilling work other than just a job that you hate. And a side note here, when you're doing a job that you hate, and this is something I did for most of my life, and I think a lot of people go through, when you are doing a job that you hate, you will feel energetically drained because you're operating out of alignment. So by speaking your truth into the universe, you speak life into the universe. The feminine is a master manifester when she realizes and awakens to this magnetic power that she really is. Let me say this again so this is very clear for you. The feminine is a master manifester when she awakens to the master manifester that she really is. She has this magnetic energy where she will draw it into her when she's very intentional and she's very tuned in to the subtle vibrations of the universe. It is so powerful to feel that subtle energy of the universe, the heartbeat, the pulse of the universe. And she realizes that she is the universe. We are all of the universe, interconnected as one heartbeat. So as you clear out all the mind chatter, you start to hear all how it really is. The next thing that I have is be open and playful. Now, once again, because our childlike innocence has been stripped away from people, especially feminine women, they've been really programmed into this rat race mentality, work job kind of thing, this 9 to 5 grind, and then it pours over into the weekend and they're still working on the weekend and they're always work. They don't ever have time to drop into their body, to be sensual, to feel, to breathe, to even feel their pain and cry and release the toxic emotions built up in their body. So they don't even know what joy feels like anymore. They don't know what that rushing feeling of love feels like because they've been so disconnected from their body. It's like they're stuck on floor 11, but where all their love is at and all the feeling is at is on floor 1 because they kept climbing that ladder of success. And I'm saying that in air quotes because that success in the business world, that success maybe from a masculine perspective, of having financial success and being a somebody in this life. And I would even say that's more like the wounded masculine or the ego talking, really being a somebody in this life, fitting into this masculine grid. But as a feminine woman, you're not meant to fit into this masculine grid, okay? You're here to shake things up a little bit. You are here to complement the masculine energy, and the masculine energy is here to complement the feminine. You're not here to be repressed by the masculine. You're here to awaken the divinity within you, the divine feminine within you, which is this ever-changing flame, this beautiful dancing goddess energy that is so powerful and so divine. And when it awakens, when this eternal flame awakens within inside of a woman, you can see the sparkle in her eyes. You can see the openness in her body. You can feel the softness in her presence. But softness that carries such a vibration of strength and power because she's not flighty. She's grounded. She's connected to earth. She's connected to the universe. She's connected to the heartbeat of everything. She is everything. And she's the manifestation of the life force energy that we are born out of, which is the cosmic womb and the mother womb. Now, the reason why so many women have been programmed and shifted into this is because of the conditioning that has been brought down from generation to generation to generation. Maybe you had a mother who was very critical of you or didn't teach you how to be a feminine woman. Or maybe you had a father who was very repressive of you or abandoned you. But the question that I have for you in this moment is, are you going to keep allowing the broken template that has been programmed into you to control your life? And I know your answer is no, because you are here to break the cycle. You are here to break the toxic patterns. And I know that you can, because women are amazing. And we need to start honoring and respecting and cherishing the beautiful qualities of the feminine essence. You know, it's so funny because the masculine yearns for all of the qualities of the feminine essence. And when they get it, they don't want to do anything to hold it. They don't even know how to hold it because they're not holding their own feminine energy, their own feminine emotions. And men have our own work to do here. Men have been programmed to not feel, to be tough, to be macho, and to push away emotions. So when a feminine woman comes into their field, into their energetic field, they're like, what is this? This is too much. This is too crazy. I can't contain this. I can't hold this. I don't know what to do with it. So what do? They do one of two things. They either try to control it and with their ego, with their mind, and manipulate it, or they repress it. And that's what a wounded man will do. He'll try to control it or repress it. The conscious man will support it. He'll hold it. He'll love it. He'll treat it like a beautiful flower in his garden, and every single day he will tend to that flower. And this takes work. If you're in a relationship, both people are tending to the garden in the relationship. The masculine is creating the container of the garden. The feminine is growing with beautiful radiance. And that radiance feeds the masculine. It feeds into the soul of the masculine energy. It's nourishment. It's food for the masculine energy. The next thing that I have here is listen to and trust your intuition. Now, you've heard me talk a lot about intuition so far. This one's really important. Women are given a beautiful divine intuition, and they're often ignoring it because they're taught to be logical, be rational, be in your mind, think things clearly, which sure, there's some value in thinking and using the mind. But the intuitive powers of the feminine is almost like no other, right? And we all have this feminine intuition. Women's feminine intuition is right there available to them at any moment. All they do is just drop into it and feel into it. And that's why you should start leading from a place of feeling into things. What does the energy of the man feel like that you just went on a date with, right? Really ask yourself, what does his energy feel like in this moment? Is he being present with you? What's his intentions with you? Is he conscious with you? Is he pure? And you sit with those things and you feel into those things. And if it's not resonating with your being, it's not vibrating and jiving with your energy, then you know your answer. You know the answer to that question. But a lot of women don't trust it, so they push it away. They think, "Oh, well, I don't know. I just don't know." You do know. You just got to feel into it. You always know. That feeling that you get, that gut feeling that you get hit with all the time, that you're constantly feeling. But we've been numbed to our intuition. We've been cut off from this intuition. So as we drop down deeper into our bodies and we practice the embodiment of our feminine energy, all of us, men and women, we really start to open up to these intuitive powers. And these really are powers. The next thing that I have is use your discernment with who you allow into your energy field. And if you notice, there's kind of a lot of parallels here with honoring your no, setting boundaries, don't people please. Another thing here that's really important is if you find yourself attracting people into your energy field that are just draining you like a battery, just constantly draining you and not doing anything for you and giving and feeding into you, then that's where you really have to do some testing. That's what I would say is do some testing, because the feminine loves to test. Feminine loves to test the consciousness of a man, of a masculine man, especially. And if you start to do some testing, meaning that by using your intuition and using your feelings and really going into that, you're going to start to draw out the truth of those around you. You'll start to see who's in their ego, who's impure, what their intentions are, but you have to really feel into that. So by feeling into that, just allowing your energy to speak for itself, becoming more silent and just listening to your feelings and your intuition, you'll know who you're allowing into your energy field that is not true. That is not true. And that's really with everything, because the feminine can be very sponge-like and it can absorb a lot of harmful energies, a lot of harmful frequencies if it's not careful, because the feminine is the receptive energy and it will draw into it all of it, right? So we have to be very aware, especially when you're more in your feminine, if your natural core is feminine. And if you don't know your natural core energy, go to jakewoodard.com/quiz to discover your natural core energy. It's a really quick 15-question quiz that you can take and find out. But when your core is feminine, you're very receptive. So it's important that you're filtering out the negative vibrations that are harmful to your being. Okay, so filter out the stuff that doesn't serve you. Filter out what's not serving your deep heart desires. Honoring your no, setting conscious boundaries, listening to your intuition, doing an audit of who and what is important as well. What you're listening to, what you're consuming, the foods, the vibration of the foods that you're consuming, the restaurants you're going to, the people you're hanging out with. The feminine is hypersensitive to energy. And if you're not aware of the energy coming into your body, you will be downloading everything. You'll be like going around your hard drive, allowing everybody to plug into you. And especially in the act of sex, that can be very harmful to your energy field if you're just giving your body to everybody, because you're downloading all of that energy into your system. And I'm not telling you who to have sex with or who not to have sex with, but I'm going to invite you for this last point here, which is to use your discernment. Use your discernment with who you're allowing into your energy field, especially in the container of sex. Especially in the container of sex. And that's for all people, but in the feminine capacity, especially, because you're receiving all of that energy and it's getting downloaded into your system. The last point that I have here is practice being embodied. Practice being embodied. I'm not saying practice being in your mind. I'm saying to you in this moment to practice embodiment. So every day you have a sensual practice that you do. You have a primal feminine dance practice that you do. Maybe you do some type of meditation that you do every single day before you start your day. You practice receiving. You practice connecting to your intuition. You practice getting out of your mind, breathing down into your heart. Now, this takes work, but it's also important that the embodiment is this understanding, because if you have trauma that's blocking you from being in your body, because you hold on to trauma in your body, that's what we do. We hold on to pain and trauma in our body. If your mind is so busy and so fast, it won't allow you to get into your body. So you have to heal the traumas, the masculine wounds, the feminine wounds that are causing you to not be embodied. Does that make sense? So heal the traumas, the masculine and feminine wounds that cause you to be imbalanced, your inner child wounds, all the stuff that you've absorbed and downloaded into your body. Heal those traumas that's not allowing you to be open and playful and intuitive and loving and radiant and feminine like you really are. When you are really anchored in your feminine energy, you magnetize to you conscious masculine energy. You are the yin to the yang energy. And it's so powerful to polarize that to you. You are a cosmic magnet. And as a master manifester, you realize that everything in this universe is abundant and you can have access to it all if you just tune into it in any moment. Now, if you're looking to learn more about masculine and feminine energies, I have a very powerful transformational online course. Go to jakewoodard.com/course to sign up today. This course, we've had over 1,000 students go through it. Some life-changing results. Has over 8 hours of transformational content all about masculine and feminine energies. So once again, go to jakewoodard.com/course to enroll in that. If this episode brought you value, please take a moment of your time, screenshot it, share it to your Instagram, and tag me in it. It would mean the world to me. I appreciate you for taking the time to listen to this. I love you and I appreciate you. As always, stay open, stay connected to that source within you.